Okay, welcome to another episode of D3 Talks. Now, on the topic of comparison, I'm going to talk about the part that people don't talk about. When people say don't compare yourself, don't compare. Obviously, you're not supposed to be comparing yourself to people. When people say don't compare yourself, don't compare yourself, it's like when they say it, they already expect you to know that obviously it doesn't work in 2 seconds. But it doesn't work in 2 seconds. You're going to continue comparing yourself to people till you stop. And I don't think you can actually 100% stop comparing yourself to people. It's something you have to keep advising yourself to do every single day. When you wake up, your daily activities to do. You want to do something and you look at another person doing it and you're like, oh, this person is doing it. Should I even bother doing it? When you want to buy something, you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I don't have the funds for this. When you're just chilling, scrolling on social media, you're looking at other people and they're like, oh, they can afford this, I can't. You know you're not meant to be comparing yourself to people, but you still do. Because it doesn't work like an on and off switch. Because in life, we're always working towards something here. We want to be better, we want to have more, we want to do more, we want to do this, do that, which is normal human behavior. But my work is to tell you, the work that did not send me to send anybody. My work is to tell you that when someone says stop comparing yourself, it's not a thing of, oh, turn that switch off. You can't. I always advise people not to compare themselves. But I compare myself to people. I compare myself to different things and different situations, different experiences, different people. I compare my experience. It doesn't mean I'm looking down on myself, looking down on every aspect of myself, beating myself up, being hard on myself. No, I'm hard on myself. Being extremely unrealistically hard on yourself because, in life, you're hard on yourself. It gives you that push. It tells you that, don't be too comfortable here. This is not where you're meant to be. We're aiming for the top. So sometimes you just have to caution yourself and discipline yourself. But I'm talking about being unrealistically hard on yourself. What was I saying? Why did I talk about being unrealistic? Yes, we do not support comparing yourself because obviously everyone is different. They have different journey. They have different experience. They have different things going on with them, right? You don't know what's going on in this person's life, and you obviously don't know their journey. You don't know their strengths, their weaknesses. So everyone's journey is different. This is why we should not compare ourselves. We compare ourselves, we belittle the things we do, we underestimate our capabilities, we feel like we're stupid, like we're stuck. Yeah, that's the basic, thing about comparing yourself to people. But it's not an on and off switch. So if you feel every day, if you feel useless every day because you can't stop comparing yourself to people, I'm here to tell you that that's very normal. That I don't think almost every human being compares themselves in one way or another. Everyone must not be comparing themselves in the same way. But almost every day you wake up and you're comparing yourself to people. Like I can't bet you now there's something you've seen or something you're about to see today that's going to make you think, oh, how far myself? Hello, what's popping? Oh, what are you going to do about this? You get it may not be like, oh, on a large scale, it may not be that big, it may not be that much, but you still find yourself comparing. People give you that advice and you should take the advice not to compare yourself to people so that you don't begin to see yourself as little or as nothing. And while you're doing that, you have to understand that it's not something that if you tell yourself, oh, let me not compare myself to somebody, it doesn't mean that tomorrow you wake up and you not compare yourself. You may even do it more. So that's that's not the secret, but that's like the technicality behind that advice. Because I think what people want to experience when they hear don't compare yourself to people is when you tell somebody don't compare yourself to people, the next thing, okay, like that's literally it. I'm telling you, I tell people every day not to compare themselves to people. I tell myself to don't compare yourself to people. But I compare myself to people almost every single day. it just goes to show you that it's something you should constantly work on, right? It's something you should constantly work on. Even though I compare myself to people, I try. I know the effort I put in to myself and invest in myself not to compare myself to people, because I know I'm doing something. It's also not going to take away the fact that it's also not going to take away my confidence. I'm very confident in myself, very confident in what I do. I'm very confident in my principles, my standards. Like, I'm very difficult to move. You can't move me. Like, no matter how much I compare myself to people, I don't let it reflect in my life. It's just a thing of, when you go window shopping, after you're done admiring everything you cannot get, you go back to your reality. So that's how it is. So maybe for like 2 seconds of my day, I'm like, I wish I could do this thing. I wish I could go to this place that this person is going to. I wish I could do this. And then after 2 seconds, I'm back to locking in, because how do I want to get to where I want to get to if I don't lock in? If I spend my whole time looking at other people, comparing myself to people, that is time wasting. That is time that I'll be using to lock in and focus on myself, wasting on another person who is doing something that I'm admiring, or who has something that I admire, when I know that I can even have more. Not more in the sense that you should be in a competition with them. That's not the point I'm driving at. But more in the sense that you can be what this person is and more for yourself, not for the person, or not as a thing of competition. So I just honestly came to explain the whole thing about working behind the principle or the advice of don't compare yourself to people. When people tell you that it doesn't, trust me, they're not expecting in 2 seconds. Like, they just tell you, and then I'll tell myself, let me stop comparing myself to somebody. And then the next thing, no, it's something you're going to kind of have to face with to the rest of your life, kind of like face for the rest of your life, because we want to achieve more, we want to get more, we want to do more. So that thought is always the thought is always in your head. As long as you exist, I don't think you can fully stop comparing yourself to people. You just have to regulate and control how it affects you, and control how it affects you and your productivity, so you don't sit down and be wasting your life on other people.